Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Mediagrapher Uncensored. Today we have our special guest, Victor Medina.
Hey guys, my name is Victor Medina. Very happy to be here.
Awesome, Victor. So why don't you go ahead and tell everybody how you got started creating content?
So essentially, I had been with some friends and they knew other YouTubers who always used cameras. So I guess just seeing that and how they made money with it and made a living out of it, that really got my attention. And before that, I had previously had a job at Albertsons, and I just knew 3 months working there, I'm like, this is not what I'm going to be doing. So I tried out the camera. My aunt had been doing photos on a Nikon D3200, so I just asked if I can borrow that. And I was taking pictures here and there. And eventually I ended up getting into videography because I just liked how much you can, convey a message within a video and get people's attentions and evoke emotions through video. So I started getting into that, and then from there I saved up money, and then I got a Coolpix Nikon. It was the one where you can zoom in super far and see the moon and stuff, so I just thought that was cool, but I ended up finding out that's not the best for cinematic videos. So then I then got a Canon T5i, and that one was pushing the borderline of the lowest good quality you can have with slow-mo, 60 frames per second. So I wasn't able to go that slow, but it was pretty good for stuff here and there.
And what year was the D3200 or is it the Coolpix in 2016?
Actually, it was the Coolpix, or no, Canon T5i in 2016. Yeah, that's when I actually started making videos, because with the other cameras I was just taking photos and stuff.
Oh, gotcha. And it was your T5i that you started shooting video with?
Yes, that's when I started really getting into video and figuring out what settings to use and just really getting into it, and I really enjoyed it.
What year was that about?
2016.
Sick. So a few years now in the books, shooting content.
Yep.
And why don't you tell everyone your first gig? Was it a photo or video?
I actually ended up getting a gig that was through my sister's friend, and that was video. It was a wedding. And I ended up getting paid actually $600 for that. So when I heard about that, I was super stoked, because making money with a camera, it was my passion, so it was just really cool for me to see that happen. And through that, I had two other friends who were kind of getting into the same thing I was doing, so I thought I could use the extra help since it's my first wedding, and I just paid them $100 each, and they enjoyed it, and they're now both kind of still venturing into freelancing and getting jobs on their own. So that wedding went pretty smoothly. I think that's what really made me, it was a long process, but smooth process, because they helped me through it. They made an itinerary and helped me out, and so I knew what I was shooting. Definitely kind of nerve-wracking since it was my first thing, and I'm very I want my work to be good, so I was oh man, they're gonna see it, and I spent a lot of time on it.
And you said you got this gig through a family friend?
Yeah, through my sister's friend, so kind of like a family friend, because we're always hanging out. So
yeah, referrals through your close immediate network, your warm audience. It's a good way to get jobs early on.
Of course.
And now, did this video make them cry when they watched this wedding video?
Yes, actually, they cried, which made me feel really good, because I knew a good job well done.
Oh yeah, anytime you make a wedding video, the goal should be to make the couple cry, especially the guy. And you said you made $600 off of that?
Yes, it was actually going to be $500 up front, and then they just liked the video so much that they ended up giving me a $100 tip. But then again, that was just better for me, because I was paying each of my friends $100, so essentially I made $400 out of it. So
yeah, that's pretty impressive. You don't normally
hear. Stoked on it.
Yeah, you don't normally hear people's first job, first paid gig, hiring people. So yeah, that's a pretty cool thing to do right off the bat. Get some experience working with others and creating a team and executing a job together.
Yeah, for sure.
That's pretty cool. And how long did it take to pull off the shoot and then also post-production?
So let's see. I think I was there for about 6 hours just filming stuff, just to make sure I showed up early and got the beginning stages of them getting ready and everything in the first show that they see each other.
Did you guys shoot photos too?
No, actually no,
just
not
focused
really.
on video?
I think my friends shot a couple of pictures just to have, but they already had another photographer there that they hired.
Oh,
so.
Cool.
And then stayed up until where they just started dancing and doing their thing. So I only got a little bit of footage of that, because I don't need to stay the whole night. But I was there for about 6 hours, and then the editing process took me about 5 hours. So yeah, around there. So 11 hours in total.
What was the total duration of the video?
6 minutes. Yeah.
Good little nice punch. So 2 years now, would your workflow editing be a lot quicker from when you first got started?
I mean, definitely, just because I've got my process down and I've just have the experience now. So I've always been one to like just make sure I'm always learning new things, and so I can implement them in future videos and just always trying to better my work. So years from now, I would say I would have definitely done that video differently, different shots and the way I edited it, and getting the settings right too, just making sure everything was perfect. So yeah, definitely would have done
And
differently.
props to you getting paid on your first wedding gig, because you know, something that I even recommend people to do is just breaking in that industry, is just shooting a few by yourself, just for free, just to get some experience out there. But wow, so props to you for taking the lead and hiring people and actually executing and giving people a video that made them cry after their wedding day.
For sure.
Now, since you made this first video, you said you've edited a ton of videos. About how many videos have you exported from your editing software?
Oh man, I would say from there to now about like just thousands of videos.
Thousands of videos.
Yep, because not only have I just done like freelance work, but I've also been like on contracts where I've been just with a specific people or a person, just doing work for them like constantly. So I've definitely racked up videos from that.
Nice. And what editing software is your favorite?
Final Cut Pro. That's one my friends introduced me to it, and it's just something I got familiar with, and it's something I still stick with today.
So what have you learned after editing so many videos and exporting so many videos?
I would say throughout that whole process, pre-production is very important because it'll help you just speed up the whole process when shooting, editing, because you know what you're shooting, and from shooting all that and knowing it, you know what you're already editing. And it also gives you a lot more room to be creative and just adding little things in there, because if you've already got something pre-planned, then while you're shooting it, you can have your own little creative twist to it. So you can just make things however you want it.
And by pre-production, why don't you define that a little bit for anyone that might not know what that means?
So as far as pre-production goes, I would say just building out and visualizing shots that you want to do. So say I was shooting a wedding and I had to pre-plan it or pre-produce it myself, and one thing would be I knew I was going to have to shoot like the first sight, because that's something that's very important in a wedding, like you don't want to miss that. And in shooting vows, you want to make sure you have good audio of that. So just setting up like where you're going to be.
Shot list too.
Yeah, just shot list, making sure you have everything you need, and so it can all be smooth and the video turns out good.
And then for this first wedding that you shot, did you have to do the pre-production for that?
Oh, actually for the first one, they were super helpful. We had a meeting before, and she was really like big on making sure her wedding goes perfect. So she actually already had an itinerary like printed out and gave it to me, so I already knew what was happening and at what time. So it was really helpful.
Cool.
So it was awesome.
Yeah, it's funny. That reminds me of like the first wedding that I shot. I didn't have a shot list. I didn't know what I was doing. The bride did not provide me a shot list, and at the end of the day, there was some shots that they felt that were missed. So that's a huge note there for anybody that wants to get into weddings, is definitely look over your shot list, ask the bridegroom any specific shots that they want, and really just to put an emphasis on any sort of pre-production, whether it's for weddings or for any other production. Just one of my favorite sayings is there's, what was it? One of my favorite sayings is more pre-production. One of my favorite sayings is the more pre-production equals the less production and post-production. Meaning that if you spend a couple hours planning what you're going to shoot, where you're going to be, angles and everything, the production and the post-production process is going to go so much smoother. So I'm going to say, so do you have any bad experiences from lack of pre-production?
So I would say the thing that like I still remember to this day was when I was working with a YouTuber named Josh. We had shot a video for EDC. We got sponsors to go to that trip for free, so the only thing they asked in return was promote them. And one of the ways we were going to promote it was through a video. And it's a 3-day festival. We shot all day during the day and at night through that festival. And things can get hectic, you know, you're at a festival, there's a bunch of people, you're just filming everything. So
You're working.
yeah, just working. And then getting back and looking over the footage, we started noticing it was one of those videos that we didn't pre-produce, so there was no storyline, and that just made everything so much harder. Just ended up putting a lot of stress on both of us, and actually ended up kind of like getting us in arguments. So I would say if you're looking on shooting a big project, just make sure you pre-produce and everyone has an open mind and know what they're shooting, because if not, and you guys all are gonna have to edit it, there's gonna be disagreements on certain stuff, and it can turn out bad for sure. So
Yeah, having the end in mind is vital when pre-producing any sort of bigger project with video production. Yeah. So, and then you were saying that there's a few negative side effects from a lack of pre-production, and that caused some stress and arguing with your team. And yeah, we want to avoid that at all costs, and we can do that by just being on the same page with everyone involved on how this is going to look as best as possible, so you can achieve the end result as close to your pre-produced session. So those thousands of videos you shot, those are with the YouTuber Josh Palerlin?
yes, I would say a big majority were, because that's one of the people I was actually working with for like a whole year. Actually, that's when I moved to LA with him. He's a YouTuber, so I was just always getting into shooting YouTube videos, Instagram videos, Facebook videos, and at the time when TikTok came out, we shot a couple, but not that many. But we were definitely big on having a set schedule, and yeah, we just shot videos every single day.
Yeah, getting in the routine daily there. So how did you meet Josh?
Actually through a friend who's a photographer who would take pictures for him here and there, and I just happened to be with him at the time Josh asked him to shoot, so I just came along, tagged along, and me and him actually ended up just like clicking pretty good, just played video games, talked a little bit, and then months later, I'd say about 6 months, I don't know how he still remembered me, but like he ended up reaching out and asking me if I would like to try out to be his videographer/editor. So then from there, I just knew it was like a perfect opportunity, because I have been thinking about moving to LA the entire time, and this just popped up. So I met up with him as soon as I can. I think I was going not up against, but like he was interviewing at least like 30 other people. But I ended up just like being with him from like 9 p.m. to like 2 in the morning, because we were just like talking, and then me and him just like hit it off very well. So yeah, and then right after that, just moved in, and then we just got to work, and I was making videos all the time.
Nice. So networking with like-minded individuals, content creators, that seemed to be your way into these sort of networks, working with people that are just doing stuff. So that's really interesting to point out, that just getting out there, networking, finding people that are doing similar stuff, you know, presenting yourself as a content creator, and that's what you did, and it eventually got you where you wanted to be.
Yes, for sure. So after I saw the power of that, and how just meeting him through a friend, I ended up started working with him. And then, I don't know, after seeing that, just the power of networking, I really realized that it's extremely important with my type of work, because the only way you're going to get connected to certain people like that is to just meeting them, and in a way getting them to like you, and just sharing like common interest, you know? So while working with Josh, we're always going to like events, and like I would say kind of like parties where like all the other YouTubers and social media people would go. And you know, I wasn't really big on like partying, but I would always have a motive of like going to that party. So I ended up actually getting into like listening to podcasts and reading books on how to like influence people and get them to like kind of like become your friends. So that helped me throughout going to those events and parties, and while going to those, I would always know certain people who would be there. So I wasn't just going to like party and stuff. I just knew who was going to be there, and I knew it would be awesome if I can connect with that person.
So you're telling me you pre-produced your party or your event?
Yes, I
Sick.
pre-produced the party and events.
Sweet. So a lot of networking with cool, influential people, getting out there, presenting yourself as a mediographer. Fantastic. So what other gigs were you doing at the time for other people besides Josh?
So I actually was getting into kind of this shooting with models every now and then, guys and girls, and then every now and then I would try and reach out to brands and companies, and I would get a few of those. So sometimes I was getting free stuff, and then sometimes, wasn't. And then I would be shooting launch parties for like certain apps or like movie premieres. And then I was also doing, that's about it. Just a bunch of different stuff, just trying to get my work out there and meet as many people as I can.
Mm-hmm. And what was the coolest gig that you shot so far, just out of everyone you've met?
So I'd say definitely the highlight of shooting all that stuff would be shooting G-Eazy at this event called Karma. Yeah, that was super cool. I had got to go on stage with him, shoot him with the Ronin, got super sick shots of him.
Roll that footage.
Yep.
Have you ever thought of how I felt? You need to think about your behavior.
Nice. And was that in West Hollywood?
Yes, West Hollywood, super nice venue, super big.
And shooting cool events like that is what I'd want aspiring mediographers to see, so that they could start seeing that that's a possibility for themselves.
For sure, because it's one thing to be doing freelancing and doing jobs here and there just for money, but then when you get to shoot cool stuff like that, it definitely opens your eyes up to knowing what you want to shoot, and it's just super fun to shoot stuff like that because you're around cool stuff, you're meeting cool people. And I actually didn't get paid from that shoot. I just wanted to do it because it was an opportunity that was brought to me, and it was super cool. I don't regret it at all.
Definitely. Your first few years shooting, I'd always recommend to just do some free work just to expand your portfolio. Just build a nice highlight reel of people that you've worked with. It goes a long way when you could just show that nice catalog of people you've worked with. So definitely take some opportunities to work for free if you feel like it could expand your portfolio.
For sure. And I would say throughout all this, networking has been a huge part of it, and that's something I would like to expand on right now because it's super important when meeting new people, and if you're trying to find new work and broaden your relations with companies and brands. Something I read that helped me with all that was How to Win Friends and Influence People. That book was amazing. I actually listened to it on a podcast. My two favorite quotes from that book would be, "You can make more friends in 2 months by becoming interested in other people than you can in 2 years by trying to get other people interested in you." And by that, I think he's talking about if you were to talk to somebody that you're trying to have a deeper connection with or just get in touch with, don't just talk about yourself. You got to relate with these people and get them interested in you. And by doing that, you got to be interested in them and show them that you're acknowledging what they're saying and you understand where they're coming from. Mm-hmm. And that just gets people to have a deeper connection with you.
Yeah, it's something that's very simple, yet some people overlook. It's not about what you have to say all the time, and it's definitely about what others have to say. You can get a lot of information just by listening.
For sure. And let's see, I think there's another one that I thought was super cool. This one's funny. Talk to someone about themselves and they'll listen for hours.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. People love to hear the sound of their own voice.
For sure. That one was super big. I think anyone would love to hear about how someone's hyping them up, and just if someone's talking about you good, it's going to make you feel good. So that's just something that was super cool and helped me along the way as well.
And that's actually how we met, is at a networking party here in Las Vegas.
Yep, I totally remember that. We met through just mutual friends, and we thought nothing of it, but here we are now, and we're working together. Mediagrapher.
Definitely. Thought you were an awesome guy. You showed me some content. Later on, I reached out to you saying, hey, I'm starting this thing called Mediagrapher Pro. We're going to teach the world about raising the standard of content creation, the most valuable things that content creators should be focusing on, and the strategy on how to acquire clients and diversify the different kinds of contracts you're acquiring.
For sure. Yeah, I remember you reached out to me a long time later. I don't know, like, what was it, like a year later?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I just remembered. And I remember you showed me everything you're working on, and I just loved it because I know for a fact that if I had that program where I was years ago, I would have been doing a lot more and making a lot more money for sure. Just speeds up the whole process of you learning just everything you need to know about getting clients and editing and cameras and settings.
And troubleshooting is a huge part of it as well. A lot of people might not be familiar with how many bugs or different things can happen inside of an editing application that will just add minutes or potentially hours to your workflow if it's not set up correctly. So all the way from file management to keeping your files backed up and organized and accessible at any time, to the importing process and keeping your files organized while you're editing, and making sure your process is just streamlined so you can edit on time, deliver to your client, rinse and repeat.
Yes, stuff I wish I knew a long time ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and a lot of people are either gonna learn themselves or find a mentor that can show them the way. So that's one of the beautiful things about Mediagrapher Pro is we wanted to create a shortcut for people that just wanted to jump in with a mentor and just take all the shortcuts they could possibly have in order to get to their desired location as fast as possible.
That's something that's also very important, is making sure you have a mentor, or making sure you're surrounding people who are doing better than you, so they're always just making you do better, so you know you're having to put in more work to get to their level, because it's just always making you work harder if you're surrounding your people who are more successful than you and know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm. And the cool thing about media production is I feel that like a lot of different people will come through and work with us, and everyone's really good in their own way, and everybody, because there's so much stuff to know, everyone brings so many different components. So two people could be extremely good, yet that they have so much to share each other with. So collaboration is a huge part of what we're building in Mediagrapher Pro.
Of course, yes, we're all learning from each other, always.
Definitely. Well, that about wraps up this amazing, quick interview with our homeboy, Victor Medina.
Yo.
Yeah, so we're going to be doing a lot more of these. If you guys like this, go ahead and hit the thumbs up button. If you really like it, go ahead and subscribe and turn on post notifications so you'll be notified when we do this again. A lot more content coming, so stay tuned.